中国疾控中心研究员洪路钊先生继续介绍健康知识。首先通报一下疫情情况。2月22日0时至24时，各省区市和新疆生产建设兵团报告新增确诊病例648例，新增死亡病例97例，其中湖北96例，广东1例，新增疑似病例882例，当日新增治愈出院病例2230例，解除医学观察的密切接触者22060。
Close contacts removed from medical observation 22128, and the severe case number dropped by 509. By the end of yesterday, China's mainland reported that there have been confirmed cases 51606, including 10968 severe cases. In accumulative terms, cured and discharged cases 22888, fatal cases 2442, reported confirmed cases 76936, and there are suspected cases 4148. In accumulative terms, close contacts traced 628517, and the close contacts still under medical observation 106089. For Hubei, new confirmed cases 630, including 541 in Wuhan. Cured and discharged cases 1742, including 965 in Wuhan. New fatal cases 96, including 82 in Wuhan. There are confirmed cases 46439, including 36174 in Wuhan, including severe cases 10428, including 9228 in Wuhan. In accumulative terms, the cured and discharged cases 15299, including 8171 in Wuhan. Fatal cases 2346, including 1856 in Wuhan. In accumulative terms, the confirmed cases 64084, including 46201 in Wuhan. Newly increased suspected cases 631, including 454 in Wuhan. There have been suspected cases 3363, including 2382 in Wuhan. In accumulative terms, we have received notified and confirmed cases in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan 10 and 5. For Hong Kong SAR 69, 10 from Macau SAR, and 26 from Taiwan. Excluding Hubei, the nation had an increase of 18 new cases and a new fatal case 1. The severe cases dropped by 54, excluding Hubei. All the provinces in the country have reported less than 5 cases, and we can see the declining trend across the country. In particular, 16 provinces and the Xinjiang Construction Corp have reported 0 new cases. Some of the provinces have already resumed the production and operation. I'd like to kindly remind the relevant stakeholders that we should continue the epidemic containment measures and avoid unnecessary outgoings. And if you have to go outside, please take care of your health and do the self-protection. Now we will have the Q&A. Please identify yourself. First question on the right, on the front row. The first lady, the first journalist. Thank you. From Xinhua News Agency. We know that energy guarantee is one of the important bases for the epidemic control. So what are the measures that NEA have adopted? Mr. Lu, to answer your question. Thank you for your question. NEA is earnestly implementing the Central Committee and State Council's instructions and make every effort to implement the relevant guidances. We've adopted the following measures to ensure the supply of energy. First, we make prompt arrangement and coordination right after the outbreak. NEA has identified energy supply as the top priority. We have mobilized and coordinated the whole energy sector in China, trying to ensure that energy supply is guaranteed. We have set up a sound mechanism. We have a dedicated task force to coordinate the energy supply. Also, we have worked out 3 working mechanisms to make the energy supply coordination. These mechanisms are working in close collaboration and work in a closed loop. By doing so, we can closely monitor the supply and the demand of energy, and we can work out targeted measures to win the fight against the epidemic. The third measure is to develop detailed plans and tailored plans for different areas. In terms of coal, the coal producers are well organized to accelerate the work resumption and increase the production. Also, we emphasize the coordination between the supply and demand. In this aspect, we try to guarantee the adequate supply of coal for power generation. Also, we have made every effort to ensure the supply of energy to the key units or key users of power, like Huoshenshan and Leishanshan hospitals. Also, we have coordinated the supply and demand for energy and facilitated the work resumption. The power generators and producers are mobilized to ensure adequate supply of energy to the general public, and also for using coal to generate electricity, we try to ensure a balanced supply, and also in localities with abundant natural gas, then they can use natural gas and use less coal to generate electricity. So, with the tailored approach, we wish to achieve a sound coordination and optimize the supply and demand.
The fourth measure we've adopted is the setting up of an accountability system. We've guided localities to enhance local accountability and coordinate to ensure energy supply in their each jurisdiction. Energy supply must be guaranteed. Fifth measure we've adopted is safety in production. We've urged energy producers and generators to enhance their safety awareness. The purpose of this measure is to avoid safety issues or accidents so that energy supply can be maintained. Meanwhile, we've conducted in-depth analysis on the impact from epidemic on energy projects. We've urged major energy projects to accelerate the resumption of business to ensure the success of the agenda items on the 13th five-year plan and get a good start in preparation for the 14th five-year plan projects. Analysis led us to believe that with our joint efforts, energy supply during the epidemic prevention and control has been timely, adequate, safe, and stable. And such results have supported the success in prevention and control. For the next steps, we will continue with our efforts so as to contribute to the final win of this fight and contribute further to the sustained development of economy and society. Next question, please. From China Daily. China Daily. Coal, oil, electricity, and natural gas are very much concerned by the general public. What is the overall supply situation? Businesses are resuming their business. How can the energy supply be continued? I'd like to ask Mr. Tang Shengming, inspector from NDRC, to take the question. I'd like to thank China Daily journalist for putting forward this question. Coal, oil, electricity, and natural gas are on general sufficient supply across the country. Most of the coal plants and oil refineries have resumed their business. The explorers of coal and oil have been on continuous operation, and railway businesses have been prioritizing the transportation of materials from energy businesses. So generally, the supply is adequate. By 22nd of February, there is a national stockpiling of 27 days use of coal, in particular at Qinhuangdao Port. The stock is a historical high. The same day, the daily generation is 14 billion plus kilowatt hours, with the biggest generating capacity of 190 million kilowatt hours. And this is sufficient to ensure our prevention and control efforts and the need for business resumption. Refined oil supply has also been stable. The inventory is at a high level. On 21st of February, the total inventory was over 210 billion plus tons. There has been some decrease compared with that before the Spring Festival, but in general, it has been stable. LNG inventory is also at a high level. The natural gas tanks can provide sufficient supply of natural gas. For the next step, as localities see businesses are resuming their businesses, there will be an increasing need for energy. National NDRC and NEA will continue to follow closely the need changes, enhance the connection between supply and demand, and address difficulties and problems, if any. In general, to support the stable running of economy and society and to meet the daily needs of general public, we are fully confident. Thank you. Next question, please. Journalist from the third row on the right side, please. I'm from the Guangming Daily. The Joint Prevention and Control Task Force pays special attention to the role of the mobile hospitals. It is reported that each mobile hospital may need 2,000 liters of diesel oil for electricity generation. How can mobile hospitals' energy need be satisfied? I'd like to ask Madam Liu Hong, DDG from National Energy Administration, to take the question. Mobile hospitals are makeshift hospitals. Diesel is used for heating, drying the clothes, and also for some disinfection efforts. So we pay special attention to diesel supply to mobile hospitals, and we've included into the list of priority allocation. We've guided businesses to provide counterpart assistance to mobile hospitals, thus ensuring the diesel supply. Shortly before there was snowfall in Wuhan, temperature was low. Diesel and the other energy supply came in handy help to ensure the daily needs of the patients and the medical workers. Huoshenshan, Leishenshan hospitals are also very much concerned by the general public and the media. LNG supply have been provided to these two hospitals. The oil and natural gas industry, in particular CNPC, Sinopec, CNOOC, and Sinochem Group, have played major roles. Just like Director General Tang Sheming has mentioned, the national oil and natural gas supply is sufficient. The inventory is adequate. Our data has shown that since February, the refined oil stock in Wuhan city exceeded 100 million tons, including half for diesel and petroleum. Refined oil consumption on daily is around 570 tons, so that shows the supply is sufficient. The transportation vehicles of refined oil are also on the list of fast tracks. Other provinces will see that their oil transportation vehicles enjoy fast track services if they are to allocate resources to Wuhan. There are also reasonable allocation of resources across the oil and gas stations, thus satisfying the needs of the local general public. The oil and the natural gas producers are also stepping up their efforts to produce raw materials for medical supplies, such as the textiles that are used for face masks, and also the raw materials for medical use oxygen and disinfectants. They are making all efforts to ensure the success in the fight against the epidemic. Thank you. Next question, please. Journalist from the first row on the left side, please. Thank you. With CCTV. Wuhan and Hubei are the epicenter of this epidemic fight. The electricity. What is about the electricity supply in the epicenter? Hubei is also an important manufacturing base for face masks. Are there any special favorable supply of energy to ensure face mask supply? I'd like to ask Director Huang to take the question. Hubei and Wuhan are the epicenter and priority of our prevention and control efforts. Meanwhile, the energy supply to the epicenter is also our priority. We have mobilized the efforts to ensure the supply. On the front of coal, we've been increasing inventory on the 22nd of February. The total inventory was 4.9 million tons that can sustain 50 days plus use. And in the oil and natural gas supply, the oil supply is relatively sufficient in Hubei province. Between 17th and 22nd of February, daily consumption was around 3,900 tons. The inventory was able to sustain 130 days of supply.
For natural gas, we can also ensure the use of natural gas in the lower stream of the supply chain. And also, we are ensuring the adequate supply of electricity. First, we have accelerated the installment of the electricity facilities in the key hospitals and the 36 makeshift hospitals in Wuhan. We have the case-by-case approach to streamline the procedure and accelerate the installment. And also, we ensured the supply of electricity to the key hospitals and fever clinics, as well as the quarantine venues, as well as the hotels. We have provided one-on-one services. Since the start of February, we have put into use hundreds of electricity supply commanding vehicles to ensure such supply. Also, we prioritized the electricity supply to the households, and we have provided accessible services to the general public. For the next step, we will continue to monitor the dynamics of electricity consumption and make every effort to ensure the demand is met. Thank you. Let's continue the Q&A on the right. The journalist, the gentleman on the third row. Thank you. I'm from Shenzhen Special Zone newspaper. The microphone is not on. Okay, thank you. My question is, one of the key efforts is the production resumption for the coal mines. Then how about the current situation? What are the measures in place? Let's have Mr. Lu to answer your question. Thank you for your question. Recently, accelerating the production resumption and ensuring the supply of coal has been identified as one of the top priorities. It is fair to say that initial results have been generated. We've adopted the following measures. First, we have the daily coordination mechanism. Starting from the early February, we had an overall planning for coal production. This plan requires the key coal producers to orderly resume their productions. Also, together with the local authorities, we have the daily reporting and the coordination mechanism. Every day, we will consolidate the dynamics to see if the production can satisfy the demand. Second, we offered tailored guidance. 3 scenarios have been involved. First is in the major coal producer provinces like Shanxi. They account for 70% of the national production. So for these provinces, we emphasized the key production facilitation. For some localities, the inventory of coal may not be adequate and the resumption might be delayed. So for such areas, we urge them to accelerate the resumption. And for state-owned enterprises, we have more strict requirements. At this critical stage, we urge these SOEs to function as major players or major providers of coal. So it is fair to say that the 3 major producing provinces have all resumed the coal production, and the SOEs under the central administration have resumed production over 90%, just like in other years. Also, we have facilitated the communication between the supply and demand. We've also requested the railway authorities to ensure the transportation of the energy products, especially in the key producing areas. Also, we have increased the inventory in the energy ports. If we have adequate inventory in the ports, then we will enjoy a solid basis for adequate supply. The fourth measure is to ensure the supply of electricity producing coal or coal used for electricity production. So we have the large system, and for coal which to be used for power generation, it has been identified as a key product. We also got informed that some power generation plants have limited inventory, so we have worked out specific measures and worked one-on-one to help them increase their inventory. By the end of yesterday, the national coal inventory has reached 110 million tons. Compared with the historical records, we can see this is at a fairly high level. And in terms of days to be used, 27 days, so 7 days increase compared with that of early February. Fifthly, we have helped the companies or the enterprises to address the specific difficulties or bottlenecks. We are making every effort to help them to address these bottlenecks. Some enterprises told us that they have difficulty in getting their workers back to work. So we have facilitated the chartered buses or trains to get the workers back to work. And of course, the temperature monitoring and health measures are implemented. And also we have initiated some green channels or faster tracks for the transportation of coal. So with the joint efforts, it is fair to say that the coal mines are returning back to the operation. We can make a comparison, and we find that the negative impact caused by epidemic have already been well addressed. The work resumption rate has already reached the average or compared with previous years, and the capacity resumption has reached 67.5%, and the daily production 8.7 million tons, and doubling that of early February. So excluding Hubei, all the coal mines in the provinces have resumed their production. 6 provinces have already had over 90% work resumption rate. Let's continue. On the left, on the third row, from Hong Kong China Review. This epidemic occurred during the winter season, and people are asked to stay indoors. However, there are also households complaining about the heating system. So how to address this problem?
Thank you for your question. The State Council and the Central Party Committee pay special attention to a warm winter for the general public. The epidemic outbreak happened during the winter season, where district is heating. More people have to stay home much longer than previous years. Therefore, it's more important to ensure central heating, district heating. National Energy Administration has been implementing the instructions from the State Council to ensure the warm winter for the general public. First, we've stepped up the monitoring and alert system. We have a daily report system to properly inspect problems. During the epidemic prevention control, we've been collaborating with localities, and we followed closely the weather changes in northern China, and we have an alert system to predict possible problems. In particular, the medical supply manufacturers must have a proper heating. The bottom line of requirements must be met. And second, we've accelerated the coordinated supply of coal, electricity, oil, and natural gas. We've also stepped up the connection between supply and demand. The heat suppliers and electricity producers and distributors cannot cut off electricity or heat supply because of the overdue payment by the general public. And fourth, we've conducted thematic studies into major problems in rural areas to cut costs, stabilize policies, change bad practices. In northern China, district heating is stable. In the next step, electricity, coal, and natural gas will be selected given the natural conditions of the locality. We will also step up emergency preparedness plan and have some standby plans to ensure any problem with district heating can be promptly addressed. Thank you. Next question, please. Journalist from the fourth row on the right side, please. I'm from the China Economic Herald. I'd like to ask energy supply in Hubei province, in particular the city of Wuhan. What is the situation there? What are the targeted measures? Second, what about the energy supply in northeast China? How about the coal supply in northeast China? I'd like to ask Inspector Tang Shengming from NDRC to take the question. Thank you for your question. Previously, Director General Huang Xuenong has attempted an answer from his perspective. I'd like to attempt an answer from my perspective. In this winter, as you have rightly pointed out, we focus on these two areas. One is in Hubei province and the city of Wuhan because of the epidemic and also because of the previous snowy days. And the second, we focus on northeast China. And Wuhan and Hubei have been our top priority. Since the outbreak of the epidemic, we've been communicating with the province to ensure sufficient supply. Data has been already shared by Director General Huang Xuenong from the National Energy Administration. Grid manufacturers have played a major role in setting up electricity guarantee and putting out clearly that overdue payment will not lead to cut-off of electricity. 24-hour supply of electricity must be guaranteed, and the feedback from the general public and comments from them must be addressed promptly. After the snowy days in Hubei province, NDRC guided the local companies to start emergent response. In particular, guarantee of supply must be given to hospitals and other key users. And in thermal coal, Director General Huang has given us an introduction that the stock of coal is 43 million tons, sustaining 54 days of use. And this has been a historical height in the recent years. And for the refined oil, the stock is 105,000 tons in Wuhan. The natural LNG tanks have a sufficient supply, and the energy need of Hubei and Wuhan can be met sufficiently. And for the next steps, Hubei province and the city of Wuhan will continue to be our priority. We will guide relevant businesses to ensure the distribution of resources, to ensure stable and orderly supply to Hubei province and Wuhan city. And for northeast China, we've made some preparatory homework. In the 3 northeastern Chinese provinces, we have started the storage back in summer season, and we've helped the companies to sign long-term contracts at a reasonable price. So coal is of sufficient supply before the winter season. And during the winter season, the thermal coal production was ensured. On a daily basis, the thermal coal allocated to the coal-fired power plants. Once problem is identified, coordination mechanism came into place to deal with the shortage. It is fair to say that the thermal coal supply in this winter has been ideal and perfect, and it is fair to say that northeast China has been through a warm winter. Most of the coal mines did not have the Spring Festival break, and the coal mine workers have been working on their workplaces to ensure the warm winter. On the 22nd of February, the inventory was over 10 million tons plus, so it can sustain a much longer term of district heating supply. Next question, please. Thank you. The national government has deployed a lot of measures to reduce the cost by businesses. What are the measures to cut energy cost? Yesterday, NDRC has initiated a temporary or a provisional clause to cut cost in the consumption of coal, electricity, oil, and natural gas. What are the temporary subsidies? Which media are you with, please? I'm from the Economic Reference News. I'd like to ask Inspector Zhang Manying from NDRC to take the question. Thank you for your question. The reduction of business cost focuses on the cost cut in the consumption of natural gas and refined oil. NDRC has adopted some policies yesterday, mainly in 3 aspects. To put it simple, 2 reductions and 1 downward adjustment. I'd like to elaborate on them one by one. The first reduction is the reduction of electricity consumption cost by businesses. We temporarily reduce the electricity consumption price of a business according to this policy. Apart from the businesses which consumes enormous volume of energy, for the general industrial and commercial businesses, the cost of electricity consumption will be reduced. In other words, grid companies, when they are charging the businesses, the grid companies will have a standardized cost charged on the business, which will be 95% of the original price. Or we can put it in a simple way that the electricity charge for these general industrial and commercial businesses will be cut by 5%, and this will be until the 30th of June.
Second, we have provided the supportive pricing mechanism for key enterprises or key users of electricity. They will enjoy such cost reduction or burden reduction. We support the key electricity users by offering such price discount. And this policy was worked out on February the 7th. And then on February the 20th, we had another policy document ensuring that this policy will be in operation until June the 30th. And according to our calculation, this involves 59 billion RMB worth of cost reduction. And also, we have accelerated the reform of the electricity pricing mechanism. That means enterprises can have their electricity consumption traded in the market. By doing so, their cost of electricity can also be reduced. The second measure is to reduce the cost of natural gas. For this measure, this is conducted within the existing framework of natural gas consumption, and we apply the price mechanism which is used in the off-peak seasons. That is, for non-household consumption of natural gas, with the government's guiding price based on the previous mechanism, the pricing will be reduced. For prices which are already open to the market mechanism, we encourage the power producers to reduce the price. Also, for industries or sectors like chemical fertilizer producers, we will provide supportive measures to facilitate their use of natural gas. Also, for the end price of non-household consumption of natural gas, we will continue to reduce the profitability and ensure that the end users can get access to less expensive power or natural gas. Furthermore, we have tried to improve the regulations or monitoring over the transportation part, trying to reduce the expenses incurred in the transportation. Also, we have reduced the prices of the refined oil domestically. For refined oil price, we have the pricing mechanism available, and following the existing pricing mechanism, the gasoline and diesel prices within China are contingent upon the international price. So, based on the international price changes for every 10 working days, there will be an adjustment domestically. So recently, following the international price changes on February the 4th and February the 18th, we have conducted 2 reduction adjustment to the refined oil. And for gasoline, and for each ton, it's a reduction of 835 RMB yuan. And for diesel, the 2 reductions have made a drop of 835 RMB yuan. NDRC is following very closely the dynamics of supply and demand in the country, and also we are paying close attention to the implementation of the policies. So our position is clear. We hope that the above-mentioned policies can be earnestly implemented, truly reducing the burden on the enterprises and increase their development. Thank you. Due to the time constraint, we have to stop today's Q&A. Now, I'll give the floor to Dr. Feng Luzhao from China CDC to give us some popular science knowledge about health. Thank you. Let me answer 2 questions. The first one is about epidemiological survey. What does that mean? It has been a popular word. For epidemiological survey, it is an important and fundamental task in epidemic containment. It is conducted based on the infectious disease law and relevant regulations. We have a professional team of epidemiologists. They go to the sites and have face-to-face interactions with the patients, the close contacts, and the clinicians. Mainly, they ask questions about the whereabouts and the daily lives of the patients, trying to outline the daily activities of the patients and investigating into the causes of the epidemic. So it is to the benefit of everyone to provide truthful information, and it is also an important and a critical step to protect the health of the patients and of the general public. We will also make every effort to protect the privacy of the patients. There have been a couple of cases where the patients try to hide from the epidemiologists their daily activities, and this is something we should never allow. The second question is about for crowded public places like the shopping malls, how to do the protection. Well, for the shopping malls which are crowded, they should strengthen their awareness. And also for people who work in the shopping malls, they should also be improved with their health awareness and report any suspicious situations. And for suspected cases, they should be quarantined. And also, it's necessary to ventilate the crowded public places. For public facilities frequently used, like the surfaces of the facilities, there should be frequent disinfection. And also, shopping malls should avoid the public gatherings.
Third, for the shoppers, consumers, and also the shop attendants, please wear masks and keep the social distance. When you touch the public items, like the lift, escalator, ensure that you have a good hand hygiene to minimize the risk. Thank you. I'd like to thank Senior Consultant Feng Luzhao from CDC. Tomorrow we will continue with the press conference, and I look forward to your continuous attention. You're more than welcome to forward your questions. With that, we conclude today's press conference. Thank you.